About a year ago, I was having a conversation with Pastor Joe from church, and he made this really good point about parenting being trading control for influence. It's definitely true that, in my life, by the time that I was in first or second grade, a lot of times my actions and where where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, that was still very much informed by the values that I saw through my parents.
How's it going, Brian?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. Tell me about what you like in a haircut and what you're thinking.
Well, I usually wear it pretty short. I have pretty curly hair when it's left to its own devices.
Yeah.
Especially in the humidity. So, if we can I usually don't do much more than like a finger width, so to speak.
Yeah.
And sometimes a hard part on the right-hand side over there, but I'm also in your hands. I trust you, Matt.
Sounds good. Do you have you ever done like a skin fade, or would you be?
What's a skin fade?
Basically, what Pastor Joe gets. It's like bald here and then blends up.
Yeah, let's do whatever. Whatever you think.
Okay.
Whatever you think's gonna look good, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm
I
in
think
your
we'll do
hands.
it a little lower. We'll see where it's at.
All right, sounds
if
good.
I'm in your hand, if you're in my hands, we'll just go with it.
There you go. My hair grows really fast, so
Yeah. We'll make sure it
sounds good.
it's a good length for you.
All right.
So Brian, you're I know you from church.
Yeah.
This is my first time cutting your hair.
Yes.
But I'm really excited to have you on here because I've noticed just about you that you always bring joy to a situation.
Oh, thanks.
And whether it's stressful times like Christmas choir
Yeah.
or normal times
Yeah.
like a regular Sunday morning, you tell us a little bit about what you do, but also
Sure.
tell us. I want to kind of get into what makes Brian such a joyful person.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, at church, my title is I'm the chapel worship leader. So on a Sunday morning, we have two different venues. One of them at 9:30, we do like a quasi-traditional service in the chapel, and I kind of oversee that, and I lead worship in that I lead the songs, but I also lead the team, coach the team, lead rehearsals, and all of that. Get to work with some really awesome people. And, I think that there are a lot of times, especially in a church setting, we can take ourselves really seriously.
Yeah.
And we can confuse like joy with irreverence.
Yeah.
We can think that just because someone has a joke to say or they're laughing at something, that they don't feel, reverence for whether it's a song that we're singing or even the fact that we're in church.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very traditional Lutheran church. It was a church of about 200 people when I was, a kid, and up in the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. And it was a very shirt and tie, traditional, stand up, sit down, fight, that kind of church service.
Yeah.
And we only had a pipe organ, and that was, what I thought all that worship in church was to be. It was the place that was holy and set apart. And I think that, there's a lot of truth in that, and I think that church should feel holy in the sense that it shouldn't feel like, the same thing as going to, let's say, the pub on the corner.
Yep.
But there's something that the truth of Scripture and the truth of what God's done for us should fill us with joy. And it should give us a lightness and let us know it's okay to laugh and it's okay to joke around and to not take ourselves so seriously. So
Yeah, I love that. So you're also, you're a husband, you're a father.
yeah, that's a
you're-
great place to get material for jokes. It really
That's
is.
great. Do you practice your jokes on your kids to start?
Sometimes they practice them on me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they really, it's amazing how much they make me laugh. My older daughter, Molly, she can be very sarcastic and she'll, you'll say something that's kind of an idiom, like hold your horses, and she'll go and grab this, like one of those horse heads on a stick that kids pretend is an actual horse. Yeah. She'll go grab it and be like, okay, what's next? And she did that when she was a kid and just, so cracked me up. Yeah, that's great. So, and definitely, probably my favorite thing to do is make my wife laugh. Yeah. Does she laugh easily, or is she hard to get to laugh? No, well, if it's at me, very easily. But she laughs. No, she's it's funny. We mentioned joy, and my wife's name is Sarah. On the inside of her left wrist, she has a tattoo of the word joy. Oh, cool. And she has it there to remind her that every day you have to fight for joy. And so, yeah, she is a very joyful person, but sometimes she laughs at the things I do when I'm being serious, too. So yeah. You're like, wait, that wasn't a joke that time. Right. Exactly. And you've been married for a while, right? Yeah. So my wife and I met when I was maybe, it was the summer after my 6th grade year of school and her 7th grade year. We met in the summer, and we were friends for a couple years. Wow. And we started dating in high school. Like pretty much every high school relationship, we broke up and got back together about a half a dozen times. Yeah. And but we were married in July of 2003. So this July, it'll be 20 years we're married. Wow, that's so fun. Yeah. And and how old are your kids? So Molly is 9, and Ruth is 7. So Molly would want me to tell you that she's almost 9.5. That's very important to her. Yeah. So, yeah. That's awesome. And, I love that that you as a person, you don't confine yourself to being just the guy that works at the church. You got other hobbies, other things you got going on. Tell us a little bit about what you do outside of the church. Well, let's see. For the last year or two, I've trying to take up some hiking. Nice. One of the big problems with that, though, is I'm pretty afraid of heights. Ooh, yeah. So we have to be really careful about where we go, or I just have to tough it out, I guess. Try not to cry too much. Yes. I find I'm a lot better at it if my girls aren't like in front of me during the hike, because then I'm not freaking out about where they're going or what they're doing. But another big one is I worked in restaurants for about 20 years out of my life. And ever since, my first job was in a restaurant when I was about 15. And so my wife and I both really enjoy food. We like to cook. We like to go out to eat. I really enjoy trying different foods, strange foods from different places, and wine. I have an extensive love affair with wine, and so getting to try different wines and kind of see how they pair with different foods, it's always been really interesting. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And you said earlier off camera, you said something about there's a title that you have. Yeah, so I'm a certified sommelier, which is a certified wine expert, which that's not something to gloss over. That's pretty amazing. No, well, thanks. Well, it's funny. It sounds really good, but once you start actually learning about wine professionally, the first thing you realize is that you can never learn everything about wine. Yeah. You'll never learn enough. There'll never be there's thousands of different types of wine varietals and grapes on their own. So yeah, and I think that's most things. If you find something that you can figure everything out, it's kind of boring. Right. You're on to the next thing. Yes. Yeah, I love that about my job. Is like I'm doing a lot of the same things a lot of the time, but there's always new things. Like the other day, I was getting my hair cut, Okay.
And it was actually kind of funny. I had someone in my chair, and I was like, this guy earlier, I was at the barber shop, and he was holding his clipper like this, and then he starts fading it like this, and I'm like, oh, that is pretty comfortable, actually.
Oh, nice.
There
you go.
Funny because I was about to like bust on him just to one of my clients, and then I just like laughing at myself. I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of comfortable. I see why he's doing that.
So do you like who cuts your hair?
I go to, his name is Ryan. He's in Camp Hill, or what's it called? New Cumberland.
Okay.
I went to barber school in Camp Hill, and he was my barber teacher. So
nice.
Shout out to Ryan.
Nice.
Ryan Schaefer.
That's
He's
cool.
It's fun to kind of run things by him, and he's kind of seen my journey from almost the beginning.
Yeah.
At least the beginning of barber school. So.
It's like I never think about that. Like, who cuts the barber's hair?
Yeah.
Like that's just a. Yeah,
people ask me all the time. They're like, "Do you cut your own hair?" And I'm like, it's too much work.
Yeah.
I like getting my hair cut. That's why I became a barber. So.
Now, did you cut your own hair during the pandemic?
I tried one time and I failed pretty miserably.
Really?
I tried to talk my sister through cutting my hair.
Yeah.
And she used to cut my hair back when we were younger.
Okay.
She'd kind of do one guard on the sides and keep it super long on top.
Okay.
And that was easy enough. But I tried to talk her through a fade, and it kind of went bad. And then I tried to fix it myself, and it's just different when you're trying to, you can't see. And I'm pretty blind.
Yeah.
Without my glasses.
Okay.
So if I have my glasses off, I can't see anything. So it doesn't go very well.
Well, during the pandemic, I had my wife cut my hair.
Yeah.
With a pair of mustache scissors.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to talk about laughter in marriage, that right there is pretty.
That's great. That's a bonding
pretty
experience.
Epic. Yes.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. But I think it had been like, I don't even know. I usually get a haircut like once a month.
Uh-huh.
And that was really bad.
Yeah. But. Something that I can imagine, being married that long and having kids. I was really inspired personally by your daughter. One time when during, forget if it was Easter or Christmas, but she read a scripture from the Bible.
Yeah.
And I was moved myself by her, just like super innocent, just like reading this beautiful passage of scripture. I can only imagine as a father what it's like to have your kids kind of in that kind of place with you.
It was pretty crazy. I mean, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was just, and she really practiced it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was awesome.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about kind of like raising kids in like this type of environment, but them really just kind of holding on to that innocence, because there's a lot of kids that don't get the experience that you're able to give your kids.
Well, that's well, so our girls go to our girls are in public school. My wife's a public school teacher, and so they certainly they bring stuff home. They bring home other ideas, other language, other music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think I found what's been really helpful for us is to not, you want to be gatekeepers at a certain point at different ages with your kids, but to a certain degree, it's important to interact with the thing in question with your kids.
Yeah.
And so to ask, well, what do you think about, just as an example, let's say it's a song or something. Well, what do you think the person's saying in this song? And, what do you think they're really after? And more asking them to help process for themselves what the question is.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I was having a conversation with Pastor Joe from church, and he made this really good point about parenting being trading control for influence. And that really stuck with me. This idea of, wanting to talk about the same things and repeat the same things and like instill our values in them by demonstrating them and showing them and talking about them, but also giving them the space to, process something that's new and kind of hold that up to what we think is, the standard in our family right now.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, say that statement one more time. Trading.
Which one? Oh, it was trading, trading control for influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you seen that kind of play out in your scenario? How has that kind of changed the way you?
Well, it's definitely true that, in my life, by the time that I was in first or second grade, there were conversations I was having with classmates that, like, my parents didn't know about, or things I was thinking about or questioning or struggling with that I didn't feel safe necessarily asking them about.
Yeah.
And but a lot of times my actions and where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, that was still very much informed by the values that I saw through my parents growing up. Even if I didn't feel safe to talk about it, I could start to apply it.
Yeah.
And I think, in the same way, like, this is just a very silly example, but a couple hours ago, we were going for a walk through a park, and a jogger ran by us, and it was a guy who was running by, and he didn't have a shirt on. And my 7-year-old was like, "Daddy, yuck. He should only be doing that at the pool or the beach." And she just had really strong opinions about it.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So on the one hand, it was cool that I got to have this conversation with her about, like, well, no, actually, like, this is, like, here's what's appropriate, and here's what we think about this, and why do you think that only the beach was appropriate? So she's fine. She's not shell shocked or anything. She's okay.
That's great. Yeah. So we're kind of already getting close to the end of your haircut, but
awesome.
I think it's. I would love to hear a little bit of, like, how you would encourage someone who is in the place of maybe kind of fearing having kids in this type of day and age. Because I think a lot of kids, or people my age and a little older, they're not really having kids the same way, the same amount. It's kind of it's a little scary, to be honest.
Sure.
Like, to bring up kids in a time where you're like, man, I don't know if I can leave them in a better place than I was in. What would be kind of your encouragement to either, to those type of people that are wrestling with those questions?
Well, I know that there are people who do, but I don't know how someone parents long term without a heavy quotient of faith in their life. And so, I think that, we believe that, like, God has equipped us to be parents of these two children specifically at this time in this place. We've had our struggles, even in the last 9 years that we've been parents. We've had a lot of moments where we've been really concerned about not only what our daughters are experiencing, but about even some of the choices that they've made. But we've also had people around us to help us remind us, and we remind each other that, all of our life experiences are just one of the ways that we've been equipped to, equipped us to be parents to these two little crazy people. So, I guess my encouragement would be, really to, if you're on the fence about having kids and you're not sure if you should or if you want to, oh man, I don't know. That's tough. Because I wouldn't say like go have kids no matter what.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. But I also think that if the desire is there to have kids and you're on the fence about it, if the only things holding you back are that you're worried about the state of the world that we're in or the state of the country or anything like that, I'm confident that there are people that were saying that in the 80s when I was born. And I'm confident there's people that said that in the 60s and in the 50s and the 40s. And I think that, the world needs, godly kids raised by godly parents. And yeah, I guess that's my main encouragement.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Finishing up a couple things here, and I'll show you your haircut.
Cool. So, Matt, how long have you been cutting hair for?
I've been cutting hair since, 2016. I did my first haircut. And it was to my friend Andrew.
Yeah.
And I gave him a mullet, and he wanted it. This
Awesome.
is before the mullets came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is an early mullet. He had mullet in his family blood. There was mullets all across his. We went to his aunt's house one time, and there was mullets all over the wall.
Do you
I
think?
was like, wow, this is something.
Do you think I could make a mullet work?
I think you can make whatever work you want, Brian.
Wow, that's so generous of you. Thanks.
But I wouldn't recommend it.
All right, fair enough. All right, I won't do it then. That was. If you said yes, I might have gone for it, but.
Yeah. How's that look for you?
Cool. Yeah, looks good. Wow, I'm like a whole new man.
You, Brian.
That's what the back of my head looks like.
There
That's
it is.
fantastic. Yeah. I love that. Nice.
Appreciate it, Brian.
No problem.